Hello everybody, Michael here for Tactica Imperialis. Welcome to today's video. Today is going to be a 40k tactics video, and as I say every time I get around to doing this series, it's been a while, hasn't it? Today we're going to be talking about a unit type, although we're not going to be focusing on like infantry, bikes, jet bikes, yada yada yada. It's an internet unit type. What we're going to be talking about is the Distraction Carnifex. That's the internet's name for it. It basically means distraction big anything, although the Carnifex first made it famous. We're going to be talking about what defines a good Distraction Carnifex and how best to use it. If you want some additional information, I will put a link in the description to 1D4chan. Yes, I'm putting a 4chan link in my description. The reason I'm doing that is because that article that they wrote on the Distraction Carnifex is excellent. It covers everything I'm going to cover in more detail, gives more examples because it's in wordy depth, and unlike me, it's actually funny. Warning, strong language though, if you are one of those temperaments. It is very strong language in places. So, what's a Distraction Carnifex? Well, the clue is in the name. It's a Carnifex that's a distraction. There's not much more to it than that. Originally, the master of it was the 4th edition Tyranid Carnifex, but as times have changed, more units have become available and have probably superseded the Carnifex. Even the Tyranids have superseded their own Distraction Carnifex with the Distraction Haruspex because, well, bigger, scarier. So, what defines a good Distraction Carnifex? Well, 1, fear factor. If there's one thing that a Distraction Carnifex has to be, it's able to put the fear of whatever god your opponent's army worships into them. Whether it's the Emperor, whether it's whatever, if it's got to scare the living daylights out of them, because it's a distraction. The point of a Distraction Carnifex is to take 1,000,000 points of damage from your entire opponent's army and not die. And then if they ignore it, well, mess them up. That's the point. So you have to pick a unit that is well known and scary to your opponent. Whether it is a Carnifex or a Carnifex Brood, as you now be able to do, whether it's a Riptide, whether it's a Talos Pain Engine, whatever it is, it has to be something that will make your opponents worry about it to the point where they're going to want to kill it quickly. The best things for this are medium speed melee units. Shooting units work as well, but the one thing about a shooting Distraction Carnifex is that it's doing its damage the entire game, so it just becomes a part of your army. A melee Distraction Carnifex is just a ticking time bomb of destruction as it stomps towards your opponent's face. That's why the melee Distraction Carnifex was designed first. Rather than the DAC effects that we see now, it's all about combat. That's why the Haruspex is chosen as the distraction unit and not, for example, don't mind the noise, by the way. It's one of our flatmates' birthdays. It's scary and it's coming for them. They have to deal with it this fast, or they're gonna get wrecked something fierce. It's gonna tear them a new one. That was yeah. So, fear factor. First thing. Second thing, resilience. You could put absolutely nothing into buffing this thing on the offense. But on the defense, it has to be extremely resilient. Because what is the point in a big, scary distraction unit that dies in one round of fire from some basic dudes? Answer, 0. 0 point in that unit. It has to be able to take a hit. This is why monstrous creatures of of basically all stripes are the best Distraction Carnifexes, because they're big, they're tough, they have a lot of health. So yeah, they're very hard to put down. Toughness 6, 2 wounds, 2 up saves, 6 wounds. All of these things are powerful. Invulnerable saves, feel no pain, it will not die. Invisibility, whatever. It's all about keeping it alive. It doesn't matter how much damage it does on the offense, although I'll talk about the offense in a minute. On the defense, it has to take a hit. So, now that we've got that out of the way, How much damage do you invest into this thing? How scary do you make it? Because bear in mind, this is a distraction unit. It's not there to win the game for you on its own by smashing your entire opponent's army into tiny little pieces, or whatever it's supposed to do. It's not there to do that. It's there to give the threat of doing that so as your opponent kills it. As a result, you expect the Distraction Carnifex to die, or at the very least, take so much punishment that it will only engage once. As a result, in terms of offensive investment, particularly for melee ones, your investment should be little, bordering on zero. You basically need the bare minimum of offensive weapons for it to scare your opponent. For example, the Carnifex. You want a melee Distraction Carnifex. Okay, I'll give it Crushing Claws. That way it will just destroy everything it hits. Combine that with Living Battering Ram, funsies. Or maybe it's a... what would be a good example? Something like a Gorkanaut, or a Morkanaut actually. Give it a custom force field for its survivability, and well, to be honest, you can't actually upgrade its guns. That was a terrible example. But yeah, you give it what it needs on the attack to be scary, and no more. You don't want to be sinking any more than 300 points in a 1500 point game, and that's pushing it. Realistically, to pull up a Distraction Carnifex, you're probably playing in a 1.5 to 2k plus game. No smaller, because otherwise you're taking up a bigger chunk of your army on the Distraction Carnifex than you would like. Sorry about this, by the way. I don't know where this cough has just suddenly manifested from. Nurgle. So yeah, don't spend more than 300 points in a 2,000 point game. 200 and 1,500 point. So this really does limit down the amount of options you have available to you. Obviously, as the games get bigger, the distraction units can get bigger. Raid Knight. But they're the core premises. Tough, scary, reasonable on offense, and cheap by the standards of a big, scary monster. So which armies pull it off the best? Well, Tyranids. Tyranids have 1,000,001 big, scary bugs. Honestly, there are far too many murder bugs to keep account of, which means that a good Distraction Carnifex or a good Distraction Haruspex, because it can regenerate, played well, will quite simply just be like, yo, deal with it. Now, you might want to go after my Flying Hive Tyrant that's providing an aura of synapse over 1 billion inches, but if you don't kill that Haruspex, it's going to eat your entire army. And it's never even going to take any damage because it just regenerates all the time because it heals itself. And I'm going to stick regen on it just for funsies. Or, yeah, that one. Imperial Guard. Not so easy to see a Distraction Carnifex there, but a Distraction Leman Russ will work. Just a big, tanky Leman Russ, maybe with extra armor, embedded in some cover, with a big, scary gun, like a Vanquisher, maybe given Pask or something if you really want to go to town on it, or Tank Commander, just to say, oh, right, yeah, your big, scary thing? No, goodbye, bang. Or, oh, you have a big scary thing? Oh, well, if it wants to run across the board, it's going to have to eat a tank shell to the exact face. So you better kill this tank right the heck now, son. Same principle. The Tau and the Eldar probably take the place for the best distraction units going. The reason for that is because it is well known how terrifying and powerful Riptides and Wraith anythings are. A Riptide with absolutely no upgrades at all is about 180 points for a heavy burst cannon, a shield generator, and an overcharge jump pack, and an overcharger and a jump pack. This makes him highly maneuverable, a decent shooting output which can go to the ludicrous on toast if he uses his overcharge, or his nova charge, should I say, on the burst cannon, and he could be stupidly tough as well by packing a 3+ invulnerable save if you want him to. For something like 25 or 35 points, you give him Feel No Pain. All of a sudden, putting him down just became a nightmare. And then, oh wait, shielded missile drones, yeah. Let's add 2 extra missile pods for some offense, and then let's also give it some protection with like 3+ invulnerable saves, and it's still toughness 6. Or whatever it is the MV52 does, I can't quite remember. Or you want some more offensive power because you want to target monsters and tanks? Oh, Ion Accelerator, easy. And then some Fusion Blasters on the top. Oh my goodness me. And you're not spending much more than probably all in 250 points to get it all done. You might spend a little bit more than that. I haven't run the exact numbers, but you're probably not spending much more than 250 points in a big game for the ultimate speedy distraction Riptide. And then, of course, we have the Wraith Knight, which is the Riptide to a factor of however many levels of ludicrous you think that the Eldar compared to the town. So yeah, those two armies pull it off really, really well. Probably because their Distraction Carnifexes are also maneuverable. That's something that we don't always think about with the Distraction Carnifex because the original Distractions was slow, stumpy monsters coming for your face. But the highly maneuverable ones threaten the entire board. Rather than being set up to counter that unit over there, I want that dead, or I want it so that your entire army is going to deal with what I've got. Here's my Distraction Carnifex. Instead, my Distraction Riptide could be anywhere doing whatever it wants to, depending on how I choose to Nova Charge. Whether it's tanking wounds all day, whether it's dishing out gigantic pie plates of stupidness, whatever it is. They make them more terrifying because they can do whatever you want them to do faster. In terms of using a Distraction Carnifex, it's really not that difficult. The simple premise is get it into a position where your opponent is going to try and kill it with everything that's in range. Everything. So put it up, not front and center, but put it facing the thing it needs to kill. For example, if it's a tank busting monster, face it at that tank column. If it's designed to swoop over and blast a command unit, put it behind something facing the command unit. And then on your turn one, bring it out into the open and start gunning for that target. Force your opponent to react to you. It's kind of like the tempo momentum Tactica I did a while ago. It's all about making your opponent react to your actions as opposed to them dictating to you, this is how we're going to be playing the game. It's all about you taking the initiative and you having that momentum to push on and dictate your game plan. And the Distraction Carnifex really helps with that. In terms of if this thing is ignored, well, do the job it was supposed to do. If it's set up to kill something and they leave it alone because they need to focus on the rest of your army, well, go and smash whatever it was supposed to kill. If you get stuck for a while, no problem. You're already tanking some shots and tanking some hits in melee. Excellent. And if you do manage to get that job done with another unit, let's say your Distraction Riptide with Ion Accelerator suddenly doesn't have a target because the Hammerhead just went pop on that Lehman Russ, well, now it's just going to go and fly around and be an absolute bloody nuisance with 4d6 Nova Charge and a massive gun. That's all it needs to do. It's designed to just make your opponent react to it. It is your tempo tool. Use it callously. It's there to die. If it survives the game, you probably did it wrong. Or your army's already dead. In which case it probably won't be able to make up for the losses you've taken. So that's the Distraction Carnifex. How do you deal with it? This is a question that I have to ask myself because I don't know how I would react to a Distraction Carnifex. Quite frankly, because I don't know how to react to a Distraction Turvigon. So the simplest thing I can suggest, and this is what 4chan suggests if you don't want to go to the bottom of the article, is treat it just like another component of your opponent's army. Don't treat it like the be-all and end-all that needs to die right the F now. Treat it just as another asset that needs to be eliminated. Which means, if you have a bunch of bolters on that flank targeting that big monster, what's the bloody point? It's not going to really do anything. Instead, focus on all the infantry around it and let your bigger guns mop it up if they need to. It's all about fire control and target priority. Don't get the blinkers on. If you get like this, you're blinkered and you're just looking at the thing and saying, this needs to die right now, oh my god, it's going to ruin my life, you've already lost. The Distraction Carnifex has already done its job, and you're already behind. So just treat it like another asset, don't get blinkered, and just use your brain. I know, if I tell that to an orc player to use his brain, I know it's a little bit weird, but that's the idea. Just use your brain, think logically, and you will be able to deal with it just like anything else. And that's it. That's the Distraction Carnifex in a nutshell. So, I thank you for watching this video. I really do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to leave it a like rating and leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure to go and have a look at the 4chan article, by the way, because quite frankly, it's hilarious, and there's a load of stuff on that site that's both informative and hilarious at the same time. If you do wish to subscribe, no pressure, but if you do, that would be really appreciated. At the last check, we are within the last 50 subs of 1,000, and I'm really looking forward to reaching 1K, and with your support, we may just get there a little bit faster, do our 1K subs live stream, and do all the cool things that I've got planned in the future. So, for now though, time to go. My name is Michael for Tactica Imperialis. Thank you very much for watching, and until the next time, see you all again. Bye for now.